This is not an overland vehicle. It's about time we do a bit of a walk around of Casey's vehicle, go through my opinions on a few things that could be done differently or that are good, or realistically, Casey, now's the time in the video you probably should turn it off and go watch something else.
Channel?
You have a channel? Let's start with a few things here. Gladiators are great overland platforms. It's a great starting point. You want to know what isn't? 840 horsepower supercharged Demon engine. Woo! Look at that thing. That literally just quadrupled your camping trip's fuel budget. Right there. But obviously, it's cool as hell. Who wouldn't want to be driving around a Demon-powered Gladiator? That's addictive. Wonder what it'd be like with race fuel in it. With 840 horsepower, so that you can get to where you're going faster than everybody else. Let's make a very important distinction here. This is awesome, but an overland vehicle, not as much. Now, some of us take that word offensively. I might be one of them. Let's go through a few things here that you wouldn't find on your typical overland vehicle. We have a massive pair of Alka shocks. 3.0 body. You're never gonna create shock fade on a service road to your campsite with your Toyota buddies with 3.0 shocks. You have more oil in your shocks than this engine takes. So definitely not necessary. Also, French-Canadian company, by the way.
Tabernacle.
40-inch tires. What KOA campground are you gonna have trouble getting past their gate and you needed 40-inch tires? This is a little excessive. You're gonna have to bring someone with you to be able to lift the spare and put it on, if he even has the spare with him, because a lot of Gladiator guys, they don't run spares, they're too cool for that. So I know we already talked about the 40s, but these are full-on machined beadlocks. Most overland trails will never require a beadlock. You're mostly just driving up and down the service roads and stopping at the nearest river you can find. So there's really no reason for you to be torquing all these bolts on a regular basis when you could have just ran with a set of method bead grips. If you look in here, we also have the Metal Cloak inner fenders, but we still have maintained the factory fenders, I imagine, so he can keep the fender extension so he's a little bit more street legal. Ironically, he still sticks out about 3-4 inches past the fender, so that was futile. We also have hydro assist down here because, well, honestly, you just can't even park the thing without it because the wheels are so damn big to turn. We had to add the PSC hydro assist system that has been curated by AMW. We recently did that a couple weeks ago. We have the AMW 8-lug 60/80 combo here, mostly to handle the horsepower to make sure nothing breaks in the rear end of the front end, but they are heavy axles. Underneath, we have Metal Cloak's lock and load system in the front. So you'll see these giant radius arms, and you'll see all 4 arms in the back. We might be doing a refresh to this later, but right now, that's the kit we started with like over a year and a half ago. Solid product. We haven't had to replace a joint yet, but Costco is not the roughest parking lot out there. We have Metal Cloak sliders. These are the same sliders we just put on Paul's. These are the Overland flip step. I guess because it says Overland in the name of the sliders, that might put a point in the Overland category as opposed to the not Overland vehicle category. I don't know about you, he's so tall. I don't know if you could really use this as a step without tearing your groin out or ripping your jeans open. Now, we've obviously got the alu-cab canopy, the alu-cab tent, the alu-cab awning. Hell, you'd almost thought alu-cab sent him a care package for his birthday. It's kind of redundant. You already have the canopy and you have the tent. Why didn't you just do the whole canopy camper thing and then you could have just climbed up in and got in? But I don't know. He changes tents so much that I never really can keep up with what's on top of the vehicle. But this is definitely a point in the direction of overland vehicle, but it does not mean it is. We've got the Metal Cloak rear bumper for Gladiator. It can handle a lot of abuse. It's very utilitarian, which makes it nice and strong because it's not all decorative with a bunch of crap. We've also got the Metal Cloak frame-mounted sway bar reinforcement bracket in the back, because once you have this much weight, you better reinforce that bracket that tends to break without even having weight on the vehicle. We obviously have Baja Designs lighting. We've got massive LP9s and LP4s on it, so there's no chance you're not gonna see where you're going. We've got the upgraded Baja Designs fog lights, obviously a Warn winch, Factor 55 fair lead to match the the Gucci item to match all the orange color on the outside. And he does have the Epic Crow MOLLE system, so he does have the ability to mount a whole bunch of Overland stuff to his vehicle. So there is potential in the future. But might as well stop stalling. We're gonna take it out for a rip. Let's go. All right, guys, let's go to the mall. You definitely will know the engine is there. It makes a beautiful sound. The downside is the more you make it make the sounds, the more pit stops you're gonna make at the gas station. So all in all, this is a phenomenal vehicle. Would I build it the same way he did? No, but everyone's gonna build their vehicles differently. I personally, with the AMW engines, I would stay with the suspension that they go with. It's a lot more geared to street driving. It will still do off-road perfectly fine, but at least your body handles a little different. This is a little soft with these big shocks, and I think Casey has it set on Cadillac mode because it's kind of all over the place. So in order to harness the power you have at your availability, I'd like the suspension to be a lot tighter, which it would also help if it didn't have a canopy and a tent on it. Kind of hard to go doing that Overland thing without a canopy and a tent on it. So a couple things I do differently. Obviously, like I said, the suspension, I would end up going with one that's more suited to a V8 and high power. I would go with shocks that are a little more tuned to that, like AMW uses. I've driven multiple aspects of the Demon engine that we've built. We've built them on double axles like we did this with a 6080. But what I really enjoyed is when we built one, we literally geared it for street driving. So we did the 488 gears. We did a rear diff only. We did a semi-float 60 we got from AMW, which allowed us to stay with the 5-bolt pattern. It kept our axles much narrower, so we didn't have to change the front. And then we added the Delta brakes from TerraFlex. We added RCV axle shafts up front. It came with upgraded axle shafts with the rear diff. We did 2 drive shafts. We did our normal like 2.5, 3.5 inch lift that AMW does without all the bells and whistles. We didn't bother changing the control arms. We didn't do the rear track bar bracket. We didn't put any extra weight on it that it had to. So everything was geared on making sure it drove properly. So, and honestly, it was a blast to drive. Like, I think not having the Dana 6080 combo underneath and the 40-inch tires, it really, one, lightens the vehicle a lot more. Because it does take a lot to turn that stuff, even with the power. But you don't want to have the power just to turn it. You want the full fun of the power with the vehicle set up around it. It is a lot more fun to drive. Would I off-road a supercharged V8? No. I feel that if you were in the summer and you're off-roading and you're rock crawling, you're doing that kind of stuff, you're not going to be moving fast enough to efficiently dissipate the heat in some conditions. It might not be happy at all. I'd probably just do a 392, or like Sean did, the spicier 426, which is a great option because at least you get a better built internal 392 basically. That'll put out about 600 horsepower. That's not to say that driving this off-road isn't fun, because like once you get to the desert, you get to the open roads and the open areas, so like not up here in the Pacific Northwest with all our trees, you can let it rip. Downside, it's a good thing he did buy a Gladiator because he needs to fill the bed with enough jerry cans to be able to make it from gas station to gas station when you're off-road. Because fuel efficient, this is not. Now, I don't know about you, but when you have a vehicle like this, you have to stop at a lot of gas stations. But the difference is, when you stop at a gas station, everyone knows you got there. One, the vehicle stands out like a sore thumb. It sounds extremely awesome and makes so much noise that when you pull up, everyone that has the faintest interest in vehicles is going to come and talk to you. And speaking from the place of an introvert that's forced to be out with people a lot, that can get very old fast. So if you don't want to talk to people all the time, you don't buy one of these or build something like this. You got to build something a little more understated that says, I'm going to go off-roading, piss off. I'm not going to lie, when you're driving around town, it'll never get old how this vehicle sounds. It would definitely get old with me on a long trip because I just want like quiet and listen to an audiobook or my music, but around town, it is mean and its presence is well known. It likes to go. Like, it does not like to idle or drive slow. It just is unhappy in life if you drive it like that. Maybe a vehicle like this could start a new trend, like fuel landing or gas landing, where you just drive from gas station to gas station across the country. So, we've made fun of Casey a little bit, we've made fun of the vehicle a little bit, but let's just be honest, it's badass. Like, there's no way around it. There's an 840 horsepower Demon engine under the hood with a supercharger whine that'll scare children running to their families. It's awesome. Nothing more fun than being at camp and everyone knows when you're leaving, because they will hear it. But let's be honest, we've looked over this whole vehicle, and the main reason it is not an overland vehicle is there wasn't a scuttle to be found. Shame on you, Casey. That was fun, but don't forget to like and subscribe, throw some comments down. I don't care if they're good, bad, or hatred, just throw some comments down, let's have some fun. I can't stay here anymore because it's chilly outside and I gotta get to the mall. If you want to get yourself one of these type of builds, if you want a V8 power to go overlanding or off-roading, more power to you. If you're in Canada, we can definitely help you out with the conversion part. If you're in the States, I would just contact America's Most Wanted directly. They're over in Michigan. They have a fantastic facility. I've been there. They can definitely hook you up with a nice turnkey option, or even put it in your existing vehicle that you've put a ton of money into. But I strongly recommend you take all of the part recommendations that come with the engines, because it will operate the way it was meant to. All right, I think we've driven this around enough. I think it's time I actually go to work.